What's up, guys? We're back again today with another great video, and in this video we're actually going to be taking the front bumper off and all that and see what's going on with the demon eyes. Like I said before, all the halos are changing colors like they're supposed to except one of them, and it won't even do the turn signal or anything like that, and I think that our ground has ended up coming off of it. And also, while we're in there, we're going to go ahead and add our second computer back so our demon eyes can change colors again. So let's go ahead and we'll jump into the video. Alright, so if you guys are going to be taking your bumper off, I've done this a lot in the past, so I'm not going to go through all of it. I'm just going to do a really quick time lapse of me taking it off. Of course, up top I have these dress up bolts that I'm going to have to take off, but normally these are all just clips, like plastic clips up top. So you'll have this plastic clip right here, the one right there. Obviously I got to take off all that. You guys will have this clip in the middle and then two plastic clips on the edge. You've got one bolt right underneath here, right inside your fender. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's right there where my finger is. That one. And then you've got, I can't remember exactly how many are, but there's ones that go around the bottom that just hold your splash shield on. And then other than those running across the front, there's actually two plastic tabs that run back that also have bolts in them. And I can't remember, but those might be 12s, but the rest of them should be 10 millimeters. So let's go ahead and we'll jump into getting this off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You'll never have the sacred stone. Oh, this you crazy mother. Alright, so we got our air diversion panel off the top, and we went ahead and basically the whole top is loose now. Now we just got to go ahead and do the bolts underneath like I was telling you about. Alright guys, so we are ready to pull the bumper off. One thing that I did forget to tell you guys about is there's actually two screws on either side right down here that you're actually going to take off too. That was one that I had forgot about. So now let's go ahead and we'll take the bumper off. So as you guys can see on the driver's side right now, for some reason the small halo ring is not doing the switchbacks like it's supposed to. I've been wiggling the wires and stuff and I've not been able to make it come back on, but when I was driving the other day it was working, and then it quit working, and then it started working again and then quit working. So what we're going to do is obviously you guys remember when I went ahead and did all this, it is very hard to try to keep all this wiring and stuff clean because there's so much wiring to do with all these halos and the demon eyes and everything like that. So what I'm actually going to do is just go ahead and take all this apart and see if I can figure out where our lines came down, because it's been almost a year now since we built these. See where our lines come down at and see if I can figure out why this is not working. So once I figure out what's going on there, I will give you guys an update. Alright guys, so it actually did not take me that long to figure out what was going on here, and it's actually a big sigh of relief. One of the halo rings before we had to take apart because the halo ring itself went bad and it wouldn't change colors or do anything like that. And we had to actually go in and change that, and I was afraid that that's what was going to happen on this one. But thank goodness that is not the case. So what's going on here is, as you guys know, each box has its own orange wire coming out of it, which is what you hook up to your turn signals to make all the halos, you know, do your turn signals and do your hazards. So what I went ahead and did is, you know, this box was powering this one and this back box was powering the other side. So I went ahead and I just reversed them. You know, I had to undo all my pretty wire ties and everything, and I reversed them to see if we could get this one to do a turn signal, to see if, you know, the halo was bad, or if this orange wire was bad, or whatever's in this box that makes the turns flip. So like I said before, we're going to go ahead and put the turn signal on that side because we did flip it. So as you guys can see now, it's doing it with this side because we flipped the wiring. So now that halo ring thinks it's on this side and this one thinks it's on that side. So what we're going to do now is, on Monday when the retrofit source opens up, I'm going to have to contact them and tell them exactly what's going on here, and hopefully it's something inside of this box that actually flips to make it, you know, mess up and not do the turn signal on this side. If not, it could be something going on with the halo ring itself, which I'm hoping is not the case, or it could be, you know, the computer up there that makes them turn colors and all of that. So at least we know that it is changing colors and it is able to flash. It's just there's something going on down here. So now that we know that, I can actually explain it to them a little bit better, the problem and what's going on. So hopefully we can get it fixed in a future video. So now let's go ahead and we will open up our box here to our, you know, the computer that had went bad on us. Here's our new computer here to replace that one that they sent me out. And we'll go ahead and we'll get it hooked up, and we'll see if we can get the demon dials on, because we hadn't seen those suckers in almost a year now, I would say. I don't know, it's been forever. So let's go ahead, we'll get it hooked up, and I'll show you guys how I'm going to do that and see if the demon dials will work. All right guys, so we got our new box in hand. I've got my soldering iron warming up here. I solder all my connections. I just think it's a better way to connect it. And then, you know, cars, you're always going down the road hitting bumps and stuff like that, and it could wiggle, you know, these, you know, the little connectors, the crimp connectors, can wiggle those loose or anything like that. So I just like to solder it because I just haven't had luck with the crimp connector. So you can do either way that you want to do, but we're going to solder it today. So before, we actually had our box hooked up right here, and this is actually the wire from the old box, but I didn't want to, we actually already had it soldered in, and you have to cut all your wires for the warranty so you can get a new box. So we've actually already got this lead coming out right here with our hot and our ground. So the only thing I'm gonna have to do, it's gonna be pretty easy. We're just gonna strip this back right here, solder our hot and our ground in, and then this computer right here will be ready to go, and then we'll be able to hook the demon eyes back up. Another thing that you guys are going to want to do right here is you will want to unhook your batteries, unless you have a cutoff switch, which we have. We have like a hard disconnect right here, as you guys can see, which is really nice. So I'm just going to disconnect this, and it'll be the same thing as unhooking from the battery up top. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to get these wires stripped back, and then I'm going to set you guys up and you can watch me solder this all together. Alright guys, so wire soldering iron is warming up. I'll show you, we've got our wire stripped back there, and we've got our wire stripped back right here. And of course what you'll want to do is you'll want to put your heat shrink on, but in typical Birchfield fashion, I am not prepared and I do not have heat shrink. So since we're actually going to have to take this back off probably in another week or two to fix that turn signal that I just told you guys about, I'm actually just going to go ahead and use some electrical tape for now, because, you know, when you solder your two connections together, there's going to be that bare wire there, and you do not want your ground and positives to hit, obviously. So we'll just make sure we cover them up really good with electrical tape, and then we'll go back and I'll show you guys when we go back and fix this turn signal. We'll actually put some heat shrink on it, and that'll be the professional way to do it. So once this gets up, we'll go ahead and we'll shoot to a time lapse, and we'll get this soldered in. Alright guys, so we got them both soldered together. Definitely not the best soldering job I've ever done, but we're going to actually have to burn them back off anyway when we go to put the heat shrink on, so we'll make them look a little nicer then. So now let's go ahead and we'll wrap these up with some electrical tape for now, and I'll go ahead and hook it back together up front right here, our battery disconnect, and then we'll be able to see if our demonize will work. Alright, so as you guys can see, the blue light is on and we are ready to go. Now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to hook up the demonize. As you guys can see, we've got the lead to the demonize right here, and we'll just pick one of these connections to go to there, and then we'll be able to go into the app and turn them on, and hopefully everything will be good. All right guys, so as you can see, I took a little break and got a little dark on me now, but we've got the demonize on and all of our halo rings are working currently. One thing that I will tell you guys about, and I think that I'm going to actually change all mine coming up really soon, and I'll make a video on that too, is these disconnects that Profile Prism gives you. They're really, really good disconnects, don't get me wrong, but they have zero waterproofing on them, and I've been going through all of them here in the last little bit when I've been cleaning up my wires and getting everything cleaned up, and they're all corroded. They all have green corrosion in them, and as you guys see, I mean, I've got it in a part of my car that doesn't really get a lot of water in it. I mean, this is pretty much, I mean, there's no way for water to get in here unless it comes, down through the bumper right here a little bit. But so one thing that we are going to do is we're actually going to cut these. We're actually going to run a test on some of them first before we, in case something messes up. But we're actually going to cut all these off and put our own quick disconnects on them that are actually waterproof, because one thing that I figured out is if I grab these wires and shake them around, these lights start kind of glitching or finicking a little bit, or are finicky a little bit, or they'll start changing different colors from one another. They won't be the same thing. So one thing that I will have to say is if you guys do decide to get the Profile Prism halos and demonize, is you might want to invest in getting some better disconnects. And it's sad to say because these are not cheap. As you guys know, if you've watched the full build, I told you guys all the prices and everything. These are not cheap, and they definitely need to be putting better disconnects on them than this. This is ridiculous because we've only had these on the car about a year and they are already starting to act funny. And it's not the halos. The halos are working great. It's just all in the wiring where they're getting that corrosion on them. So hopefully they will fix this issue, but I'm going to show you guys how we are going to fix it, and hopefully we'll get everything working again. I'm actually going to go ahead and put the bumper and all that stuff back on off camera, not to bore you guys with that, and hopefully come Monday we can talk to them and we can figure out why our one turn signal is not working on that one side. So anyway guys, the main purpose of just making this video for you guys was so you guys can see the problem that I'm having going on with the switchbacks. Hopefully maybe one of you guys knows the answers to what's going on, and you can comment down below so you can help me out. If not, in the next video when we actually go back over these again, I'll actually have an answer for you guys, because I am going to call the retrofit source and hopefully they'll be able to help us with this. But anyway, we'll get back to this video. There'll be a part 2 to this so you guys will know what's going on with everything. So peace out guys, and remember, build your masterpiece.